If there is only one word that you can use to summarize the entire Bible, what would that word be? I'm still waiting. Come, let's talk about it. Hi, Kid Dovann here, and welcome to another episode of Week at a Glance, where we dive into a thoughtful summary of this week's Bible study guide. Welcome to another episode of our series on the covenant. For me, that word would be, covenant. There is so much confusion when it comes to the covenant. What is the covenant and which one is still valid? You know what? There's a good news. For 13 episodes, we will be talking about the covenant. Episode 1 left off with the fall of humanity because of Adam's and Eve's sin. Right now, you are watching episode 2, where you will get a quick rundown of what we are going to be learning in this series. The title of this episode is Covenant Primer. Now, here are the important points to remember for today's episode. Our first point is the meaning of the covenant. How often have you heard the word covenant used in normal conversations? No, you won't hear it that often unless you are talking to a bunch of theologians or trapped in a theological library. In our day-to-day language, we use the word or the term contract or agreement. However, the biblical idea of God's covenant adds a relational dimension to it. It deals with the relationship between God and humanity. To make it even easier, you can view the covenant as a synonym for the plan of salvation. The Bible uses different types of relationships to help us understand the biblical idea of the covenant. There is the master and servant relationship, of course, in the context of God as a loving master. There is also the parent-child relationship. If you are a parent, then you know that you have an unwritten covenant with your child. They may not know about it, but you promise to provide for them and to protect them. There is also the ever-famous husband and wife relationship. A marriage covenant, like the biblical covenant, defines both the relationship and a legally binding agreement. The covenant that God made with different people or groups in the Bible was intended to accomplish God's purpose, and that is the salvation of humanity. The covenant was designed to be inclusive and not exclusive. Everyone was invited to receive the blessings of the covenant. Now let's go to our next point to look at God's covenant in the course of human history. Our second point is the continuity of the covenant. Although the Bible speaks of covenants in the plural, there is only one basic covenant of salvation in the Bible. The plural covenants means that God advances His saving purpose by restating His covenant in various ways to reach and to meet the needs of His people in different times and settings. There are major covenants that are mentioned in the Bible. First was the covenant that God made with Adam, and then the second one was the covenant that God made with Noah. In episode 3, we will talk about it. And then came the covenant that God made with Abram. An in-depth discussion of this covenant will be in episode 4. Next is the covenant at Sinai, or better known as the Mosaic covenant, named after Moses. This will be explained in episode 7. Then it is followed by the covenant that God made with David. And lastly, we have the new covenant. We will take a closer look at this far in the future in episode 10. The divine covenants with Adam, Noah, Abram, Israel through Moses, and David, and along with the new covenant to Israel, can be viewed as successive stages of God's single covenant of redeeming grace that is ultimately fulfilled in Jesus Christ. This means that the people with whom God made a covenant were not exclusive recipients, but rather influencers entrusted to broadcast and share God's plan of salvation. We just talked about the continuity of the covenant. From here, let's go to our next point. Our third and final point is the essence of the covenant. When you carefully read God's covenant, you will notice that they include several characteristics. First, God is the initiator of the covenants, and He will fulfill them with His grace. Second, the promise is basically the same. I will be your God, and you will be my people. And third, the response is the same. God expects them to respond in glad obedience. Since humankind broke the first creation covenant in Genesis chapter 1 and 2, it has been God's plan to restore humanity to the loving relationship that once existed. This loving relationship between God and His people is the essence of the covenant. And God expressed this by saying, I will be your God and you will be my people. You can find this one in the Abrahamic covenant in Genesis chapter 17, in the Mosaic covenant in Exodus chapter 6, and in the New covenant in both Jeremiah 31 and Hebrews chapter 8. As a result of this covenant relationship, please take note of the word relationship. The people simply obey God, not because they are forced to, but because they know Him, because they love Him, and because they want to serve Him. And this captures the essence of the covenant relationship the Lord is seeking with His people. I hope that this very short episode has helped you to get a better understanding of God's character and excites you to learn more about God's everlasting covenant. So in summary, here are the different points we talked about in today's episode. Point number 1, the meaning of the covenant. Point number 2, the continuity of the covenant. And point number 3, the essence of the covenant. If you find this episode helpful, then share it with a friend. Spread the word and change lives one message at a time. And if you want to watch more episodes like this, then click on this video right here. This is again Dovann for Week at a Glance. I'll see you in the next video.